Sunday between the Colts and the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about kind of a statistical anomaly with the Indianapolis Colts and the quarterbacks that they've faced through the first 10 games that I think is utterly meaningless, but is a good thing if it's not for the Colts. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Lou Anarumo, Jim Bob Cooter, and Brian Mason, the three coordinators. They spoke to the media today, and it was kind of interesting, the difference in their demeanor this week. It's like, okay, we've hit the home stretch. The bye week's over. We got work that needs to get done and get done right now. How do we get this thing done? How do we get this thing on the right track? We're 8-2 right now. We sure as hell don't want to finish 9-8 or 10-7 and put our playoff hopes kind of in a precarious situation. We're going to talk about all the divisions in the NFL and who's going to win each of them. I'm going to tell you exactly who's going to win them all. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. Some of them look hard, but aren't necessarily hard, like the NFC North. Looks hard, everybody's clustered at the top. No, not really. There's one team that you can dismiss out of hand right now. I'm going to tell you which one that is. We are also going to talk about Lou Anarumo's defenses in Cincinnati. They played Kansas City 6 times in 4 years. The last 4 years. They played 6 times. That included 2 playoff games. How did Anarumo's defense do? It is really interesting because the results were really consistent. Despite the fact that the Bengals won 3 and lost 3, it had a lot more to do with that Bengals offense against that Chiefs defense, whether they won or lost, than the Bengals defense against the Colts offense. I'll tell you what I mean in a moment. This is Inside Indiana Sports Now for Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, brought to you by the great people at YouTube TV. Click on the link below. It's not there yet. It'll be there right after we finish the live. And you can get $15 off your first month's bill. Very, very nice. All right. That's a good thing. They've got ESPN, ABC, Disney, FX back. YouTube TV back and better than ever. And they went to war for you. For 2 weeks, they went to war to keep your prices low. So they don't have to pass on the Disney greed to you. They held firm. They got a good deal. All right, but click on the link if you want to sign up for YouTube for the first time. There it'll be for you. All right, become a member because, my God, are you kidding? How would you not be a member of this? This is the best YouTube channel for Indiana sports, period. This is it. You want to belong? You can. Click the join button. You can do that now with any device, including an iPhone. So it used to be you had to be on like your desktop. Not anymore. You can click the join button and boom, it happens that quick. Become a subscriber and you can win a prize. You cannot win a prize if you're not a subscriber. You are not eligible to win a prize if you're not a subscriber. All right, so become a subscriber and you know what? Use the phrase that pays as your entry every single video. There's a phrase that pays. They change at my whim. They pop into my head, and sometimes we go, sometimes we don't. And today we're going Colts dominate. That's what we're going to say. I don't think they're going to dominate this game, but I think they are going to dominate the AFC South. And that's the important thing. We'll talk about what happens this game. And the amount of points that Lou Anarumo's defenses in Cincinnati allowed to the Kansas City Chiefs, very, very consistent, and put this game kind of in the hands of the offense, as all that the games have been against the Colts this season. You score a certain number of points, you win. You score less than that, you lose. It's just that simple with these Colts. So hit smash the like button, and if you want to make a donation, no big whoop. But please include a comment or a question that elevates the level of discourse on the channel. All right. Let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Let's see. Lions, Rams, Bucks, Eagles, Colts, Ravens, Broncos, Bills. That's very close. You may have gotten all of those. That's pretty damn good. You're sharp. All right, Flamekeeper says Colts dominate. Yes, they do. All right, the Chiefs, they're plus minus. I'm going to tell you why the Chiefs aren't mediocre. All right, scoring points is something that the Chiefs do. And in their wins, their point differential is plus 95. So that's 5 wins, 95. That's an average of 19 points per win they win by. Losses, they are minus 22 in their 5 losses. That's less than 5 points per loss. So just from the points perspective, the Chiefs are pretty damn good and have really played in bad luck to this point. And we hope that they don't all of a sudden wind up playing in really good luck this week at Arrowhead against the Colts. By the way, the Colts are number 1 in point differential, plus 115. The Chiefs are 6th with a plus 73, despite the fact that they're 5-5. Viewing the Colts, so viewing the Chiefs as mediocre, I think is spurious. It's wrong. They're not mediocre. They just got a really resolutely mediocre record. Colts, they've got an elite level record. Nobody has fewer losses than the Colts. There are a few teams with 2 losses. Nobody with 1. But the Colts, over the last 2 games, you can't just forget the last 2 games. They came out gangbusters, right? They go 7-1. And they dominate as they go 7-1. Then, all of a sudden, things get a little bit murky, and all of a sudden, they start sending more people, and you go against elite level edges for the Steelers, and then you got a bunch of blitzes against the Falcons, and what people have learned is what they already knew about the Daniel Jones who played for the New York Giants, is when he is under duress, he makes crazy decisions, just as every quarterback does. It's not a judgment on Daniel Jones. Every quarterback under intense pressure is going to cough it up once in a while. 6 turnovers by the Colts as a team in Pittsburgh, and then another couple in Germany. I don't remember exactly how many. It's funny how we know the 6 in a loss. But in the win, in the overtime win, I don't know. I don't know how many they had. We dismiss the negatives when games are, when they fall, the result falls in the way we would like to see it, right? Can the Colts adjust to how opponents bring pressure? That's what this last 7-game stretch of the season's about. Everybody knows how to make Daniel Jones do bad things. Now the Colts have to figure out how to keep opponents from doing what makes Daniel Jones do bad things. They got to keep them out. And they got to build a pocket that Daniel Jones can step up in and move forward as he's delivering the football. He cannot throw off his back foot and be accurate. Very few people can. Patrick Mahomes, one of the absolute few who can. He can move to his right, throw left. He can move to his left, throw right. He can throw left-handed. It doesn't make any damn difference. Patrick Mahomes can do all the stuff that they teach you in quarterback camp. Don't do that. He does it and he wins with it. The Flamekeeper says if the Colts don't improve on their performance from the last 2 games, they'll lose in KC. That's absolutely true. This is a real team. Like, you're not playing against Michael Penix. You're playing against Patrick Mahomes, for God's sake. Can Jones take care of the football if the Chiefs do bring pressure, if they're successful in bringing pressure? If Spags dials up a bunch of exotic blitzes, are the Colts going to be on point in stopping that blitz, or is it going to be up to Daniel Jones to avoid it and make the right read? Charles Eggers says, good evening, Kent. Did the bye count toward players IR? No, it does not. To win the South, do we need to go 4-0 against the Jags and the Texans? How many wins for the 1 seed? Man, well, you're talking about 5 wins for the 1. It's going to take 13-4 minimum to get the 1 seed. For the Colts to win the division, if they sweep the Jags and the Texans, that's 4 of their next 7 games are against either the Jags or the Texans. You sweep those 4 games, there's no way any team's catching you. It's not possible for them to catch you. All right? But if they split those games, then things get a little bit, you're still in pretty good shape because you're up 2 on the Jags, you're up 3 on the Texans. I think the Texans are the bigger threat. If you split, Really hard for either of those teams to catch you. If you sweep, they got no chance. Zero. Not mathematically zero. In my world, zero. How about this? The quarterbacks in the two losses against the Colts, Matthew Stafford, who's 37 years old, Aaron Rodgers, who's 41 years old, 0-2 in both those games. The next oldest quarterback that the Colts played, that is Geno Smith at the age of 35. Everybody 35 or younger, the Colts 8-0. Everybody 37 and older, the Colts 0-2. Does that mean that young quarterbacks can't beat the Colts? It does if you ipso facto a little bit, but you cannot claim a cause and effect relationship between quarterback ages and the ability of the Colts to win. It just doesn't make sense. I think it's a purely arbitrary but seemingly telling statistic that a lot of people use. Right? You get this in the national media all the time. They reverse engineer. All right. Hey, what's the deal? Like I was thinking this afternoon. I was thinking, hey, know what? Stafford's an old man. Aaron Rodgers is an old man. The Colts can't beat old men. And then I looked up the ages of all the quarterbacks that the Colts beat and all the quarterbacks that they lost to, and it divides perfectly. So, of course, it must be true. No, it's not. Tua is 27. Geno Smith is 35. Ward's 23. We got him twice. Nix is 25. Brissett's 33. Herbert is 27. And Penix is 25. Lou Anarumo's defenses in Cincinnati. All right, in 2021, they beat the Chiefs twice. And in those games, the Chiefs scored 31 and 24 points. The next year, they split. They won in the regular season. They lost in the playoffs. They scored 23 and 24 in those two games. The last two seasons, they played the Chiefs once. The Chiefs scored 25 and 26 in those two games. So in the last 5 games that the Chiefs have played a Lou Anarumo defense, the Chiefs have scored 24, 23, 24, 25, and 26. The Colts are 8-0 in games where they scored 29 or more. They are 0-2 in games that they score less than 29. In fact, both those games were 27-20, both those losses. What's that tell you? It tells you that if Anarumo and this defense do what they're supposed to do and do what the Bengals always did, and then keep the Chiefs to between like 24 and 27 points, 24 and 20, 23 and 26. Really. You know what you got? You got a chance that if you are scoring points, you're going to win that game. Now, it sounds pretty infantile, doesn't it? It sounds elementary. But if the Colts can score more than 28, there's a really good chance that they're going to win this game. So as you watch this game, pay attention to because the Colts don't score them like boom, like the Texans did against the Jaguars in the fourth quarter a couple of weeks ago, where they dropped 26 on the Jaguars' heads, right? That's not the way the Colts do it. The Colts do it, they're like 7-10, 7-10, that kind of thing for a total of 34. Maybe they get another touchdown in there someplace to bump it up to 41. But they're scoring virtually every quarter. We'll see what happens. Colts, they need to score more than 28 or more, I think, to have a chance in this game. All right, let's talk about the division races in the NFL and who's going to win. Who's going to win all of these divisions? I saw somebody who was doing this today, and I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. It's a bye week for the Hoosiers. We don't have nothing to talk about where it comes to the Indiana Hoosiers football team. Basketball's got a game on Thursday night. Stroud to play Week 13 versus the Colts. Is Ward retiring? Which Ward? Who? Mooney? I haven't heard he's retiring. That I haven't. He's been in the building. Like, he's been doing stuff. So I don't see that happening. But you know what? 2 concussions in a very short period of time. You never know. But I've heard nothing to that effect. The AFC East. Let's start out with the AFC East. The Patriots and the Bills still alive in the East. The other teams not so much. Patriots are 9-2. Bills are 7-3. There is one game left between them, so that means that the Bills are going to have to make up a game and a half. All right, because the Patriots have a bye upcoming. Bills, they got to win that game against the Patriots. I believe they will. I think that the Bills win this thing. I think what tends to happen with Mike Vrabel is that toward the end of the season, guys get worn out a little bit. Like Mike Vrabel is old school. He's not old, but he's old school. And that means in camp, you're getting after it. And when you're playing, you're getting after it. And all 17 weeks, you're getting after it. And toward the end of the season, against teams that don't get after it, they got a tough time maintaining that level of play. So I think the Bills win the AFC East. The AFC North, you got the Steelers at 6-4 and the Ravens at 5-5. Lamar Jackson back. If he stays back, there is no chance that the Steelers stay in front of the Ravens. None. And they do have the 2 games between the two, so those are going to be crucial in how this race breaks down. The Ravens down by a game. They got 2 left with the Steelers. Whoever wins, if somebody sweeps those 2 games, they're going to be the division champs. I think the Ravens have the best chance to win that division. I believe they're going to win that division. How about the AFC West? You've got the Broncos at 9-2, Chargers 7-4, Chiefs at 5-5. It would not surprise me. I know this is crazy. With 7 games left and you're down 3.5 to the Broncos, it would not surprise me if the Chiefs won that division. It just wouldn't. Chiefs are really good. If the Colts can beat them this week, what a jackpot that is for the Broncos. If the Chiefs beat the Colts, they're in business at 6-5. The Broncos, they've got 1 each against the Chargers and the Chiefs. The Chiefs and the Chargers play once each. I don't think the Chargers can win that division. I think it comes down to the Broncos and the Chiefs. I'm going to pick the Broncos because I'm not a moron. But man, if I'm the Broncos, I'm paying extra good special attention to what the Chiefs do every single week. How about the NFC East? You got the Eagles at 8-2, the Cowboys at 4-5-1. Eagles. Nick Sirianni. When Nick Sirianni was here working for Frank Reich, he was the best coach in the building. And it wasn't close. And you didn't need to know a whole hell of a lot about football. You just needed to know about confidence in human beings to understand that. Reich did not exude confidence. Matt Eberflus did not exude confidence. Nick Sirianni, he was the same guy as the offensive coordinator here as he is as the head coach with the Eagles. They're going to win the division. How about, by the way, oh, you know what? I skipped right over the Colts, didn't I? Colts are 8-2, Jaguars 6-4, Texans 5-5. So the Colts have a 3-game lead over the Texans, 2 over the Jaguars. I'm not worried about the Jags. They play both teams twice. The Jags and the Texans are done with each other. They split their 2-game series. And I think all the Colts have to do to win that division is split with the Jaguars, split with the Texans. I believe they're going to do that. The Texans have a tough time scoring the football, but they got a really good defense. And I think that the Jaguars are going to have a tough time coming down the stretch. I don't think that they can win this division. As long as the Colts go 2-2 against the Jags and the Texans combined, they're going to win the division. I think they do at least that well, and they're going to win the division. All right, NFC North. You got the Bears at 7-3. I really think the Bears have an opportunity not really an opportunity because it's a negative, but they got a real chance to finish the season 8-9. I don't think they're very good. I've watched the Bears a lot because the Bears games have not conflicted with the Colts games very often. So I can watch the Bears and then I can watch the Colts or vice versa. And what I see from the Bears, Duvernay, without that return, they've got no chance with Caleb Williams running that offense to come back and beat the Vikings on that last-second field goal. No chance. but they got the return. They're finding different ways to win. Back in the day, remember when Dick Duran was the coach? And I think the Bears went like 13-3 because Mike Brown went crazy returning interceptions for touchdowns. I don't think this is that kind of a team. They don't have a defense like that. What they do have is a really flawed offense. They got an offense like Roma Dunze is okay, but you need to get more out of your wide receivers. You need to get more out of the running game. Colston Loveland is a work in progress. The O-line, not terrible, not great. Caleb Williams, every once in a while, he makes a throw where you're just awed. He can keep a play alive really, really well. Not well enough to beat out the Packers or the Lions. I think the Bears wind up third in this division. Right now, they're a half game over the Packers. They are one game ahead of the Lions. The Bears have 2 against the Packers, 1 against the Lions. I think they lose all 3. And that elevates both the Lions and the Packers ahead of the Chicago Bears. All right, NFC South. Yikes. Buccaneers and Panthers. Is this just a shit division or what? Yeah, I think it's going to be the Bucs. I mean, 2 of the last 3 games of the season are between the Bucs and the Panthers. So it's going to come down to those 2 games. I don't think the Panthers are good enough to get over on the Bucs, who have won that division for a while. They've kind of, staked that ground in previous years, and I think that works out for them. Again, Patrick says, does the new signings on the practice squad make it to the main roster? Well, I think with Wormley, you're going to see him elevated 3 times. You've got 3 more games that DeForest Buckner is going to be on IR, and you've got 3 elevations without signing a guy to a 53-man roster contract. So I think with Wormley, they're going to sign him to the practice squad, elevate him 3 times, and then say, hey, thanks very much for your effort, and he's going to be goners as DeForest Buckner comes back. So I love George Odom. George Odom is going to make a difference on this team because of special teams. It was interesting hearing Brian Mason talk about Ashton Dulin today. He said he's one of the 3 best special teams players in the NFL. George Odom, when he was here, wasn't a great safety, but man, that dude rocked and rolled on special teams. I'm not sure what happened with Odom, where he was available for the Colts, but as a special teams guy, that's a guy you elevate. That's a guy you play. I like George Odom a lot. I'm so glad they brought him back. That's awesome. NFC West. You've got the Rams at 8-2, Seahawks 7-3, 49ers at 7-4. The Rams played the Seahawks once, and it's in Seattle. I got the Seahawks winning that division. And I know you're going to think I'm nuts for Sam Darnold over Matthew Stafford because Stafford's having a historic season in terms of like touchdown to interception ratio. What was it, 25-2? That's crazy. And after this week, I'm not sure what it is. But, man, dude's playing out of his mind. And Darnold had a really tough weekend. So maybe that's all going to turn. But I think the Seahawks win that division because I think they're going to win that game in Seattle against the Rams. I know they haven't played great in Seattle yet, but Seattle's just different. The Rams have the experience of playing there in the past. They know what that environment's like. The Colts, going into that environment in December, really, really different. Like I've stood on that field during a game, the Rams and the Seahawks. I'm on the sidelines, and that place shakes. Like the sound has texture. It's weird. It's just different. So that's the way it's going to go. Let's see. I think it's trash. Jalen Jones should be on the bench. Mooney is dealing with his emotions, so that's a waste of a contract. Colts need pressure from front 4 against Mahomes to be successful. That is true. What is the Colts' biggest weakness? What's your biggest worry? It's DJ for me. Colts dominate. What do you think about Jalen Jones being named CB2? Let me see this. I'll be right back. So this Mooney Ward retiring business, like that's where Jalen Jones has been, right? Let me see, Mooney Ward. You always think on Tuesdays, nothing really is, nothing much is going to happen. Where is, trying to figure it out, I'll put Charvarius and we'll see what happens. Let's see, maybe I'm just not looking right. Let's see. Sorry to do it in this way, but sometimes we have breaking news and we got to deal with it. So let's see. Oh. Well, yeah, and we know this. This is, yesterday was the third heavenly birthday of his daughter, Amani Joy Ward, who passed away in October of 24 from complications of Down syndrome and heart defects. In his posts, Ward expressed unrelenting pain, stating he has not been happy since her death and dismissing the value of football. And wow. So he said F asterisk CK football, same thing, this money, any type of fame, I don't care for none of it, lost without my baby. I get it. Man, is that just horrible? I don't know how you get through something like that. I don't know how you lose a child. I have no idea how you lose a child and get through it. That's got to be the most horrible thing that anybody can endure. And so anybody going through it, anybody going through that, it's just having an incredibly tough time and should have an incredibly tough. I just don't. All prayers to Mooney Ward. Just, I mean, unspeakable. I don't know. Again, I don't know how you get through it. Just absolutely terrible. And of course, he would not be, like you've got Sauce Gardner, Jonathan Edwards listed on the at ESPN as the first two corners because Mooney's on IR and Mooney's still going to be on IR, and we're going to find out tomorrow. We might get an update. So, but prayers to Mooney Ward, and again, I can't even imagine. It's impossible to empathize with that kind of thing. You just hope that the person is resilient enough to find a way to find purpose in his or her life after losing a child. But that's got to be all kinds of difficult. I don't even know. I can't even begin to understand the level of pain that equates to. We all lose parents, but we all expect to lose parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, that kind of thing. Nobody expects to lose a child. And that's just, it is heartbreaking, Fireman Jeff. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Breakfast with Kent, bright and early, 6:40. Let's go. Wednesday, Colts back to practice tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Colts gonna play against Charlotte coming up tomorrow night. We're all looking forward to that, I think. Take all the time you need, Mooney, 100%. And part of the reason that he wanted to move, right, and come to Indianapolis was for a fresh start, because everything in San Francisco reminded him of his daughter, which, again, we can't even imagine.